my lovely floss tube friends, welcome back to the channel. A very warm welcome to you all. You are probably thinking, wow, Teresa, wonderful, you've done a stitch with me. You said you was going to. I did. However, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be at the No Bam retreat on a long weekend of fun, stitching, friends, chatting, shopping, all of those good things. Instead, I am at home with COVID. I know, you can't even make it up. Of all the times in the year for me to go and catch COVID, it would have to happen when I'm supposed to have been at a retreat. So, I am not letting it beat me. I am not letting it get the better of me. So I decided that if I can't be there and stitch with people, I will sit here and stitch with people, but virtually. So I'm with you and you are with me. And that is going some way to at least console the disappointment of not being at an actual retreat and doing all of those wonderful good things. So here I am. The voice, you'll have to grin and bear. I'm not sure how long I'll last because I tend to be fading quite a lot and then coughing quite a lot. So all the time that I'm not coughing and I'm not fading, I'm going to sit here and stitch and try and talk to someone, even if it's virtually, because I'm a little bit depressed by the fact that I'm not where I should be right now. So on that note, let's flip the camera around and you can see what I've actually decided to stitch on. So here I am with my, I thought we'd go festive or festive-ish. I know it's not quite Halloween, but yeah, I thought I would try a bit of something different. I haven't pulled this stitching out for, I cannot even begin to tell you when. It's been that long. So I decided that it was time that I pulled something else out that's different, something I haven't stitched on for a while, and see if I can rekindle my love for my stitching. So what to tell you, so the last video that I posted, my monthly update, I did actually mention on there that my plan to do that video was supposed to have been to go out shopping with my mum, then record my video, because I knew that I wouldn't get a chance to do it if I didn't do it then, because I was supposed to have been at my retreat. And I mentioned on there that I was actually unwell, and that I'd been in bed all day with a temperature and a sore throat. Now, I did do a COVID test. So after I recorded that video, because I was feeling dreadful, then I managed to get it under control, paracetamol. And then after I did that video, I sort of wilted again. So I decided that I would take some more paracetamol and go back to bed because I was feeling pretty dreadful again. But before I did that, I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do a quick COVID test, just because I'd had the temperature. And I was like, that's very unusual for me. I don't normally have temperatures. So I thought I would just do a double check just to make sure. And when I did that, it said that I was negative. So I was like, well, it's obviously not COVID, it's just a virus. So at that point, I had no concerns whatsoever as to what was wrong. And just thought, I've got a cold. I've got a week to get rid of it. We're all good. We're all good here, she says. Famous last words. So on the Sunday, I still felt dreadful. So I spent again an entire day in bed because I was like, do you know what? There's no point in me trying to fight this. I'm just gonna grin and bear it. So I stayed in bed all day on Sunday because I felt dreadful. And I knew that I had to work from home on Monday, and then I was going back into the office on the Tuesday. So I was like, no, I'm just gonna rest, do all the things, so that I'm good for a working week, was what I'd sort of told myself. So I'd done nothing more than stayed in bed all day Sunday. So after spending Sunday and Saturday in bed, on Monday when I was working from home, still felt pretty crook, but I was like, you know what? You've got a cold, Teresa. Suck it up. So Tuesday morning, I knew I needed to go into the office, into London. So I got myself up in the morning, still feeling dreadful, as you do. And I was like, I'll be fine. Just take some paracetamol, you'll be fine. Got myself all ready, got down to the station. And as I got onto the platform, I looked up at the board at the top to tell me what time the train was leaving. And there was a train on the platform. And it said that the train was leaving at 6:01 in the morning. Well, it's saying it's going to leave at 6:01. And when I looked at my watch, it was 6 o'clock. So I panicked, as you do, because I'm like, please don't go off without me. So I run for the train. Stupid mistake, because I did nothing more than fall over. I know. So I went down with rather a hard bang. Took quite a bit of skin off of my elbow, which was a surprise, I'll be honest, because when I went down, my glasses flew off, my bags went everywhere. It was very unflattering. Thankfully, I was wearing trousers, so there was no skirt going up or anything along that lines. I hit the deck, and as soon as I hit the deck, I went down like on my arms. And you know when it's just like you feel this searing pain going through your elbow, and I'm like, oh no, please don't tell me I either broke my elbow or broke my arm, because it was so painful. There happened to be 3 workmen that kindly scooped me up off the floor. My glasses had flown off, so my glasses were like down there. My bags were sprawled all over the platform. So these lovely guys helped me up, got my bags, and they're like, are you all right? Are you all right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. And they're like, you need to sit down. I was like, I need to get on that train. I need to get on that train. So I did nothing more than hobble off like the injured old lady that I was. I managed to get on this train, and all I remember doing is sitting on this train, dropping my bags, and was just like holding my arm, because I was like, wow, this really hurts. It's so painful. But would you believe it? I'm sitting there expecting the train to pull out literally as I get on this train. That train must have sat there for about another 3 minutes-ish before it actually left the station. I didn't need to run at all. Wasn't happy. Wasn't best pleased, because I've now injured myself for no reason whatsoever. Anyway, I'm sitting on this train. Train pulls out. And I was like, wow. Wow, my arm hurts. Wow, it really hurts. I've looked at my coat, because I had a thin jumper on with a suede coat. Now, the suede coat, there wasn't any holes or marks on the elbow. The jumper, so I took the jacket off. The jumper was still intact. However, my arm wasn't, she says. I mean, it's not that big now, but there was like a big welt, like a lump right there, which has gone down because I've been very good with it. And I was like, how on earth have I managed to take all that skin off when everything else is intact? I didn't understand that. And then, because when I've looked at my knees were the same. So both knees were took out as well. But I'm like, I'm on the train. That's all that matters. I just need to get into work now. So I sat on this train, and I must admit, you know, when you're young and you take a fall, you just sort of bounce back up, don't you? Brush yourself off, and it's like, just laugh it off, and that's it. Your job done. I wouldn't say I was traumatized by it, but you know when it shakes you up. I've never really understood the whole you know, you took a tumble and I got shook up. I never understood that. Now I understand it. Because, yeah, literally on my way into work, slowly but surely, all of my body parts started to hurt. You know, my shoulders hurt, my neck hurt, my back hurt. Obviously, where I'd braced myself to go down. When we're younger, I don't think we brace. I think we just sort of like, we're like jelly. We just bounce and squish about. I didn't do that. I should have done that. I probably would have felt better for it. So anyway, I've hobbled myself into work. I spent the day working. Again, I was still taking paracetamol, but all the time that my body was hurting, I was like, well, what do you expect? You fell over. You fell over on the train station. So that's what's hurting. So didn't think anything more of it. We was going out on the Tuesday night for a sort of like a leaving thing for all of the old gang with my boss. So we went out for the night. I didn't get back here till gone 11 o'clock at night. And then the idea was that I needed to get up and needed to be back into London for 8:30 in the morning. So anyway, gone straight to bed. Got up the next morning. Felt terrible. Everything hurt. My throat was sore. My head was sore. And I was like, well, you know, you wasn't very well. And then you've gone out for the evening for dinner and drinks. So hardly surprising that you don't feel your best. So I done nothing more. Got myself ready. Got a lift down to the station. Jumped on the train. Got all the way into London. And I was thinking, oh, I feel dreadful. And I was like, this is why you don't go out on a weeknight, because you just don't have the staying power that you used to have. I got off the train at one of the tube stations, and then I walk over and I walk through Trafalgar Square to get to work. And I do this every time I go into London, so I know how I normally feel. Tuesday morning is the first time I can honestly say I was walking through Trafalgar Square and I felt like it was not that I was chesty. As you can hear, I'm not chesty. I haven't got a chesty cough or anything like that. It's the first time that I've ever felt that I can't catch my breath. I mean, I was walking fairly fast, but no faster than I normally would. And all of a sudden it was just like I couldn't catch my breath, but I could not breathe either. That wasn't the problem. It was the oddest sensation. And I was like, do you know what? Boots, a pharmacy, is not far from where I work. So I thought I'll just go there and pick up another COVID test and just do another one just to be sure. Only because the way that I felt. But I honestly thought it's just a virus. It's nothing. Got into the office, went straight into the ladies' toilets, done the COVID test, and would you believe it? In seconds, there was 2 red lines. And I was like, oh no, that is not what I was expecting. So needless to say, with a little help from my boss, of all people, my boss went and got some face masks from downstairs, brought them into the ladies' toilets for me, and left them on the side so that I could get a face mask on and get myself back home. So I have been working from home for the rest of the week. With COVID. And I was thinking, you know, given that I was unwell last weekend, I was thinking, well, it might not last that long. And I don't know how long I've actually had it for. So there's a good possibility, she says, that by the time I get to Friday, even if I miss the Friday of this retreat this week, even if I can go for Saturday and Sunday, it'll be fine. Well, I didn't test again until Thursday. I think it was Thursday. No, it was yesterday, Friday. I didn't test again until Friday night, Friday late afternoon, early evening. In the hope that, because everyone else was already at the retreat on the Friday, I sat on the sofa. I took a rest day Friday, so I'd already booked Friday off work. And at first I was like, well, I might as well cancel my leave day and work. But then I was thinking, do you know what? No, I really could do with the rest. I really could do with sort of just a bit of a sofa day. So I spent the day on the sofa stitching, would you believe? I did do some stitching, so I'll have something to share at the end of this month at least. But I thought if I do another COVID test, maybe if there's no red line and I'm no longer contagious, I can go for the Saturday and Sunday at least. But no, still infectious, but it's an absolute pain in the butt. Devastated doesn't quite cut it. I was just so upset. I really, really wanted to go to that retreat. Hold on, counting people. Let's make sure I'm in the right place. So yeah. You know when you just like, this was not the way. It's not the way. It's not the plan. So yeah. But it is what it is, right? And we know that COVID is about still. Now, this is where it gets intricate. So here in the UK, I don't know what it's like in the rest of the world, but here in the UK, they basically say, now with the new way with COVID, there is no requirement to not go to work. There's no restriction. However, where I work, they have a different opinion. If you have COVID, you stay at home. That said, there's no requirement to retest because they're aware that COVID tests are not free and people can't always afford them. So the rules at my office, at least, are if you contract COVID, don't come to work from home, and when you are symptom free, then you can go back in the office. So I was like, right, okay. So needless to say, as you can tell, I am not symptom free yet. I've still got this headache. The headache is a killer, I'll be honest. But I thought to myself, do you know what? It is what it is. But the reality is, by law and by what the government guidelines are, I could have actually gone to that retreat. There's nothing to say that I needed to test, and even with a positive, that I needed to declare that I have COVID. And I could have just gone. I could have just rocked up, turned up with it and said, oh, it's a cold. And that's perfectly acceptable. Although I don't think that's acceptable. You know, when you know you're going to a retreat and there's, let's just say, vulnerable people with compromised immune systems, people that are on cancer treatments that go to these retreats. I don't want to be the person. And even for those that have none of that, you know, people that have got kids, got busy lives, the last thing you want is for someone to turn up with something like COVID, which like literally goes through the family or a household so quickly. I don't want to be the cause of other people's illness. So there is no way that I'm going to go and infect people, even if the rules say I can. It doesn't mean I'm going to do it. So I didn't. So I had to pull out from the retreat. Because I was pulling out so close to the time, I was, you know, I was sort of prepared for the fact that there wasn't going to be able to fill my space. So therefore I wouldn't get any refund whatsoever. But you know when you're like, what a waste of money. All that money that I paid for a retreat, I could have bought a chatelaine and a half with that. Instead, the money's gone. It's like poof, it's gone. And I'm still here. I haven't gone to any retreat. I haven't stayed in a hotel. I haven't had my massage. I haven't enjoyed time with the ladies. And the worst part about this, the no ban retreat was the one where everyone was going to stitch a tree for me on my evening in the park. I'm gutted. Absolutely gutted. Because now there's no one to stitch my trees. I mean, in saying that, I might have to put a post out on the Essex Needles Retreat Facebook group and let everybody know there that, you know, I didn't go to the retreat and that the trees are up for grabs if anyone wants to stitch a tree for me, because otherwise I'm going to have to stitch all 6 of those trees myself. I mean, I did actually think maybe that is what I should do this weekend. It's like, well, if I can't be there in person and now there's no one around to stitch my trees, maybe it's like a destined omen. In fact, I was scheduled to meet with Lauren, Cross Stitch Bunny, because she went to the Nobam. She's there now, and she turned around and she said maybe it's like an omen, Teresa. And you know, we're like, what does she mean by an omen? She's like, maybe it's because you're supposed to stitch your own trees, and that you're not supposed to have anybody else's stitching on your trees. You know, when you're like, she might have a point. It might be a thing where it's like, no, you can't go because you've got to stitch your own trees. It could be that. So I'll have to have a little think about that and see what I think about stitching my own trees, or whether I'm just going to carry on with the chatelaine in bits and pieces and then go to the Essex Needles Retreat and see whether anyone wants to stitch on some trees there. Even if I could just lose a few more would be nice. So yeah, welcome to my world. Absolutely gutted that I'm not there. Right, hold on, we're just having a recheck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. No. Yes. So yeah. This is fun though. This is fun. And I've not started coughing yet, so we're doing all right. We're doing just dandy here. So I thought, well, what project shall I pull out? So whilst I've been at home and stitching, because I don't really feel much like moving about, I don't really feel much like doing much of anything else, I decided to pull out my alternative reality. So alternative reality has been getting some love. And do you know what? It's so nice. So nice to get back to a full coverage piece and something bigger than a ornamental size project, which I don't really want to stitch on. I think I can safely say that some of my stitchy bug is back, even though I don't. A lot of people commented. Thank you for all the people that commented on the last video when I was saying, what's happened to my stitchy bug? Has it gone away? Is it done? And everyone was like, no, Teresa, that's not the case. It's just that you're busy, and when we're busy, you know, we don't necessarily get to the things that we want. So the fact that I was so busy and now I can't be busy because I can't even go down to my mum. Currently, at the moment, my mum does not have COVID, and I don't want her catching COVID. No way. I don't want to get in that at all, especially with how bad I feel this time. I'll be honest. I think this is what, my 3rd time of COVID now, something like that. And this one, yeah, it's not a very nice one. Admittedly, it seems to be going through my house now like a dose of salt. So I've got it. Lauren, my daughter, has got it, and she's got it quite bad actually. She's been really poorly for the last couple of days. And then yesterday, her boyfriend Ben tested positive. So yeah. So we're dropping like flies here. So everyone's coughing and spluttering. But at least we don't need to worry about sort of staying away from each other because we've all got it now. I think the only person that hasn't got it is my husband, Darren, which I'm still sure he was the one that gave it to us. He swears blind that it wasn't him. But before he went off to Italy last weekend, probably about 3 or 4 days before he went, he was ill. You know, he was taking paracetamol, he had a really sore throat, he had a snotty nose, said he felt really tired. I still think it was him. I think he was the one infected us. But when he came back from Italy on, what day did he come back? Monday. I said to him, you need to do a COVID test. So he did a COVID test on the Monday. And he came back negative. But as I said, it may be that he's already got through it. He's had it. And because he didn't test when he first got it, it could have been him. So, yeah. Needless to say, he's not in our happy books right now for infecting all of us. We're not happy with him. Because we're pretty sure it's him. If it's not him, then we have no idea where it's come from. None whatsoever. But hey, it is what it is, right? It's one of those things. And especially in a family, in a household, it's like, it's really hard not to have anyone else in the household catch the same thing. The worst bit with this one is the fact that when you feel really, really ill and you're running a temperature and you've got a sore throat and all of those good things, when I tested twice, I was negative. And then when the temperature had gone and I was just left with feeling dreadful, the headache and all of the other stuff, would you believe it? I test positive. So, yeah, need to be a bit careful because whereas before, as soon as you got symptoms and you tested, it sort of most of the time it showed up. I get the impression that now that's not the case because for the first few days, I mean, and I tested twice. Both times it said that I did, you know, I was fine. So I was like, well, I've obviously not got COVID. It's just a virus. And that's what makes it worse because I then was like, well, I've obviously not got COVID. It's a virus. So I'm just gonna go do my sweet thing. And so I'm off out and about doing all the things and I'm spreading COVID wherever I go. Right. I'm that organised and was that all over this that I completely forgot I needed scissors. So let me quickly go and get some scissors. Okay, so we're back. Got my handy dandy scissors. So yeah, you know when you're just like, I'm so disappointed. I was so looking forward to it. I mean, I think this retreat, the No Ban retreat, is the retreat that I love the most because it's one of the retreats that I go to that I actually normally do a bit of stitching. Whereas some of the others, I'm like, it's a bit hit and miss with me because I get so sucked into doing so many other things that I don't always get to actually do my stitching. Well, most of the time I don't do my stitching. But yeah, one of those things. Just gutted that I'm not there. But that's fine. Hold on a minute. What is that at the back of this stitching? Oh no. Do you know what? I've been stitching on that, and I think I already had some stitches and a needle in there, hanging from the back, ready to restart a thread. Well, not now, I'm not. Oh dear. Okay, let's just cut that off. We're not going to worry about the messy back on this project, that's for sure. There we go. He's gone. So let's just find out where I am. There we go. So this project, less about my sickness and being so disappointed in not being at the retreat. The upside to that is this video is going to go up where I'm actually sitting and stitching and having a chat with my floss tube friends. So it's not that bad because I get to hang out with you guys instead. Although I'm not hanging out. I honestly am contemplating doing a live stream now on Sunday just to sort of make up for not being with people, because at least I could interact. And I was thinking, even if I don't do very much stitching on the live stream, I mean, I could sort some threads out, or I could do a little bit of ornament stitching, and then just chit chat and look at the screen, because that's the trouble. Because I'm not feeling my best, I don't want to sit there going, oh yeah, well, I'll do a live stream and do lots of stitching, or stitch whilst I'm talking. I struggle really hard with that anyway, but when I'm feeling particularly rough at the same time, I can't imagine that that will go very well. I mean, obviously doing this is not quite so bad because I don't need to keep looking up and reading something whilst I'm talking to you. I'm literally still focusing on my stitching. I'm only reading my chart. So it's a bit different doing one of these versus a live. But I do like the lives because they're a bit more interactive for me. You know, I get to chat to people and answer questions and those sorts of things. So I might do a live stream. A live stream might pop up on the screen. But I won't necessarily sit and stitch and chat. I might do some thread sorting, or I might stitch on a little ornament or something whilst I'm talking to people, just so that I get to have a natter and get to see people. Well, I don't get to see people, but you all get to see me. But I get to interact. That's the bit that I'm missing, I think, is the interaction. So yeah, I'll see how I feel on Sunday, because that is the trouble with this COVID, is that you get up feeling not too bad, but then within a couple of hours you're starting to will and you're like, oh, not feeling it now, and then I'm back off to bed, or then I need a nap. So yeah, it's I'm not a great patient, I'll be honest, either. I'm not very good at being sick because I'm not normally that sick, not with colds and viruses and those sorts of things. I'm not like a sickly person, or at least I didn't think I was. Starting to question that now. But COVID is a slightly different beastie because it is highly contagious. So yeah, I'm not going to sit here and say it's because I have a weak and wobbly constitution, because I don't think it is. I think even those with a great immune system still get sick with COVID. So yeah, is what it is, right? I'm just going to suck it up and just deal with it now. I've moaned enough about having COVID. I mean, to be honest, any other time of the year other than when I've booked either a holiday or a retreat, if you get COVID, you get COVID. And I would have been like, do you know what, it's fine. I'll just sit at home. I'll work from home. I'll stay away from people, because I don't find that particularly hard in general. It's just that it's like, of all the times in the year to get it, I always seem to get something that's like contagious or a real big issue right ahead of a retreat. So yeah, one of those things. So as you can see, I am stitching on my Halloween Quaker by Leela Studios. And this one I am stitching on a 40 count. I know. 40 count Newcastle linen. Now, I always say, oh, you know, stitching on 40 count, way too hard, too hard on the eyes. Believe it or not, I find, she says, 40 count Newcastle linen easier to see than a 40 count even weave. This is much easier to stitch on than an even weave is. So I'm not too adverse to this. And I seem to be doing okay with it so far. So this could be a good choice of fabric for me going forwards. Although when I was stitching on, what was it I stitched on 40 count? I think it was my jumpers. The jumpers as my Christmas gifts. I think I stitched those on a 40 count and struggled immensely with them. But I think this one is easier because of the colour of the fabric, because this is a hand-dyed fabric by me. And it's got all the greys in it. I find that it's made it so that I can see the holes better, whereas on the jumpers it's like a creamy white colour, and I struggled to see the holes. So yeah, very, very strange. I never would have thought that the colours would have had anything to do with it, but I guess it did. Right, where am I going? We're making good progress here, people. Although, I think I'm going to have to call it in a minute because I need to go and grab myself a drink. And I'm about due for another set of tablets. But maybe we'll just get another row in. Should we get another row in? Where's... Yeah, we've still got quite a bit on this thread. Maybe I'll just go to the end of this thread. There we go. Well, we'll just carry on. We're carrying on. I can't say I'm going to carry on laughing, but I'll definitely carry on. But yeah, I'm rather liking stitching on this 40 count. I love the 1/1. I'm using the cord for Crescent Colourworks rather than the DMC. And I know it's not quite Halloween yet, but you know when you just feel like stitching on something different. I needed to reinvigorate myself with my stitching. I needed to find something that was gonna, you know, really make me want to do some stitching, especially the fact that I feel rough. Because I don't know about you, it's like if you feel well and you haven't got anything else to do, you just pick your stitching up and you're fine. But when I'm not very well, I tend to find that I'll pick the stitching up with all the good intentions because I want to do some stitching. But then normally I'm like, I do a few stitches and then I'm like, no, I need to either go and lay down or just vegetate in front of the TV. So the fact that I'm still managing to actually do the stitching, even though I don't feel very well. I mean, I keep taking breaks. So it's like, do a bit, stop a bit, do a bit, stop a bit. And then I was thinking yesterday afternoon when I was sitting on the sofa, I was thinking, do you know what? I could pull out that crochet and have another go at my crocheting, because that's the perfect thing to do while sitting in front of the TV. But because I need to keep rewatching the video of the how to do it, I'm like, well, that's not going to work, because I need to keep referring back to the video of what to do and how to do it. So I need to pull that out. I think once I've mastered the first square or two, it'll be fine, because I'll know exactly what I need to do and what stitch is what. But because I don't actually know it, it was like the thought of sort of having to really concentrate Because that's the thing now, is like with my stitching, although I concentrate, I don't concentrate. It's not like learning something new. Learning something new requires a whole nother level of brain power on my part. Whereas my stitching, other than, you know, counting, which I know sometimes can be more difficult than it looks, it's not like I'm doing specialty threads or specialty stitches or anything like that. So it's not that taxing on the brain. Just as long as I'm doing counting. Counting's so much easier than learning something new. Right, where am I? Okay, we need to go back down here now. Yeah, we do. What was it I was just saying about taxing one's brain? Can't do two things at once. But yeah, so I've decided that we'd pull this out and I'm going to stitch on this just while I'm chatting with you. I've got alternative reality is on the frames out in the living room. So I don't know whether to go out there and stitch on that when I finish up here, or switch the project, because that got stitched on yesterday, and I did do a good 200 or 300 stitches on it. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but on a Josephine wool that is, because it's quite confetti heavy, she says. So I don't know whether to do that or whether to pull another project out and do something else, or whether I should do starting of my, hold on, Teresa, what are you doing? Oh no, we're all right people. But I don't know whether to pull out my crackers, my new crackers that I need to get stitched for Christmas, and start those. But you know, when it's just like, I don't want to, the way I'm feeling at the moment, I don't think I should be pulling out stitching that I really don't fancy and that I know isn't mine or isn't going to be mine, because at the moment I'm just enjoying stitching on my projects, like the things that I haven't been stitching on, the things that I've missed. So yeah, not sure there. I know what I should be doing, but what I should be doing and what I want to do are two different things. So I'm thinking that given that I'm really not well and don't really want to, I don't want to put myself off stitching when I don't feel well, because it would be so easy to go, oh, I won't sit and stitch, I'll just sit and vegetate in front of the TV. So rather than allow myself to do that, I think it's important that I pick stitching and projects that I really thoroughly enjoy working on, just to sort of like rekindle my love, if you know what I mean. I think that's what I'm thinking. So I don't know whether to just, because the other thing I'm finding is, although I've got all the incentive to do the stitching right now, the going and getting another project, putting it on the bars or putting it here and doing this and doing that, I'm not really feeling all that. I just want a project. And because alternative reality is already on the frame and all the threads already out there, it's just too convenient to just whop it onto my lap and then just start stitching. Whereas if I switch out my projects, I need to go and I need to decide, and that's the biggest thing, is deciding what to stitch next. I would need to decide on what I'm going to stitch, then put all of alternative reality away, and then sit and stitch on something else. But to do that, I've got to put it all out, put it on a frame. Yeah, I'm not really feeling that. But there's so many projects that have been seriously neglected I don't really know. I'm sort of torn. I'm torn between them all because I want to be stitching on all of them, but I know that I can't do that. Okay. I think, people, we're going to call that done for today on this one. Although I am thoroughly enjoying it. Maybe I should take this one into the living room. I don't know. I don't think I've done too bad. And as you can see from the picture in the top right hand corner, I'm literally stitching that top very first motif is what this is. That bit there is the center section. So, but yeah, quite liking this. Although I will be happy when I get away from this big motif and can go and play and, you know, not necessarily do the witch, but the bits at the bottom, the little houses along the bottom, the cats, the boots, the birds, the pumpkin. Quite looking forward to doing some of those bits and pieces. But not too shabby, people, considering that I'm sitting here doing this with COVID, not feeling my best. Mummy's having to fend for herself, so I feel quite bad because I can't even go and really have a chat with her, you know, or do anything for her because I can't infect her. Right, let me switch the camera. There we go. At least I've done some stitching with you. I've done some chatting. Like I said, not 100% sure yet whether I'm going to do a live on Sunday, but if I do, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to be stitching. But does that matter? What do you reckon the criteria is for a stitch with me live? Do you have to stitch, or could I be doing other things? I don't know. I don't think many of the community mind too much if I'm not actually stitching and I'm sorting. I'm still doing something, but then I could talk at the same time. And yeah, who knows, people? I need to have a drink because my throat is now really, really dry. And no one says that a live has to be for very long. I mean, where are we at on this video? We're almost at 50 minutes, so it's just almost an hour of stitching and chatting. So if I can do an hour with you guys, I'm pretty sure I could do an hour on a live stream chatting. So on that note, people, I'm going to go and retire to the sofa with some more stitching. I just need to decide what that is. I hope you're all having a wonderful weekend. I hope you're all staying safe and festive and warm and cozy. And until next time, people, bye bye for now.